This is all about casting vision. It's one of the most important things you're going to do. And I know teaching and training, that takes a lot of prep. For you prayer group leaders trying to pull together devotions, catching up with people, growing the prayer group, all of that stuff is important work, and I'm really glad that you're doing it. Casting vision, however, this is like the foundation that everything else is going to go on. So to show you what I mean, we're going to play a little game. I'm going to show you pictures of different like logos, and then I'm going to read to you what the company says about itself. It's either going to be a slogan or it's going to be their mission statement or something like that. And I want you to see if you can match the mission statement with the logo. All right, here's the first one. Just do it. Can you figure out who it is? Yeah, it's the swoosh. It's Nike. How about this one? Their logo is an arrow that points from A to Z, and here's why they do it. They want to be the Earth's most customer-centric company. Now, who is that? You trying to figure it out? Okay, here's the rest of their mission statement. To build a place where people can come to find and discover anything they may want to buy online. You got it, right? Yeah, it's Amazon. Okay, how about this one? Good. Now, for some of you who are like in your 40s and 50s, you remember, good, good. That's what Campbell's soup is, good. How about this one? Melts in your mouth, not in your hand. Yeah, you know what that is. M&M's. How about this one? Revive. That's probably harder, right? I didn't get that one either. But I've stayed at a lot of Marriott inns and hotels, and they are reviving. They're fulfilling their vision. It's only one word. How about this one? Packed with peanuts really satisfies. Yeah, Snickers. Okay, how about this one? To inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, one neighborhood at a time. Did you get it? All right, as soon as I got to cup, you knew what it was going to be. All right, how about this one? Breakfast of champions. Yep, Wheaties. And here's the deal. Wheaties, for a while, they had like champions on their boxes, right? All these sports champions and so on. So they were even enforcing their slogan, their vision even more. What about this one? Well, this is weird. It's don't be evil. I have no idea what that means, but it's Google. And maybe it's Google wants to be a different kind of an online provider, internet provider, maybe easier to use or friendlier or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's their slogan, don't be evil. I think I got them all. But the point I'm trying to make is that when a group embraces and invests in the vision, then what they do or what they produce becomes pretty much synonymous with the vision. And people associate the vision and the group or the vision and the product together. Conversely, if the group loses the vision, loses the sense of vision, then they start focusing on themselves. And some of you have experienced that, maybe personally, or maybe you've seen it happen in class or with your leaders. They idolize the past and they stop dreaming about the future. And they stop losing the passion for what they were called to do. And now it's more just feeling cranky and complaining, and it's a burden, it's not a joy. So what I'd like to tackle in this training kit has two parts. The first part is explaining what is vision casting in the first place. And then the second part would be going over the steps for casting vision successfully. And there's 4 steps. Step 1, clarify. Step 2, cast. Step 3, cast it again. Step 4, celebrate. So we're going to go through all of that. Now, companies know how important vision casting is, and they spend zillions of dollars in it. They know that when they're intentional about communicating their vision, then it catches on. And people are able to be passionate about whatever label or company it is. And they know that it has to be memorable, easy to remember. So it has to be like Marriott's Revive or like good. And it needs to say a lot in a few words, and needs to be able to be something that people will think about, not just when they're doing what they're doing for the company. So what's vision casting? Let's start with that. Basically, it's creating a mental image. So here's a mental image. What if our leaders loved coming to the fellowship time? And it was such an important time that they talked about it all month long and planned for it all month long. And there wouldn't be anything that could stand in the way of them being able to be at the fellowship time, because the fellowship would be so rich, the sharing would be so rich, so God honoring, that the experience of God being among us and we sharing our lives in Christ would build us up and be the fire that lives in us for the next month. We just can't miss it. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Okay, what about that? What if that? So here's what leader, who's also a pastor, Andy Stanley says. He says, casting vision is creating a mental picture of what could be, fueled by a passion that it should be. And here's what we know about vision. It's the leaders who are the managers of the vision. Leaders are responsible for communicating the vision clearly. Leaders have to help people embrace the vision. And we have to help people embrace the vision in a way that would inspire them to act, to move forward with it. Vision directs followers. So the people you lead need to know where you're going so they can follow you there. So do a quick mental review. I want you to think about your leaders and think about your class members. Are some of them seeming kind of lost, like they're just going in different directions, but they're not following you, or they're not at least going on the course, the vision that you see for your class, or that BSF sees for a class? Do they seem like they're just sort of passive passengers? Wherever you go, they'll end up there too, but they're not passionate participants. Or maybe that describes you. And if you're feeling that, I hope you give me a call so we can talk about it, maybe talk it through. Vision inspires people to make changes and to endure the challenges that must be while those changes are being made. They know that it's going to take a lot to move forward. You hear my clock in the background. And they want to do what it takes to meet this unified goal. Now, there's an easy way to think about this. It's a sports illustration. I don't play sports, but I do get sports illustrations. So here's one. Think about vision in terms of playing a sport. So the ball is the vision. That's the important part. It's central, okay? And good players know that they've got to get the ball across the field or across the court to the goal. They don't just drop it. When they get the ball, they know exactly what they need to do with the ball. In BSF, the ball, if you will, is the vision, and God gives the board of directors and our executive director, Susie, he gives them the ball. That's the vision. And they get this idea, this sort of what if for BSF, the overall organizational vision. And then we get a picture. We imagine, what if we had global in-depth Bible studies? And so we imagine the what if, and that gives us our vision and our aims and our cores. We get a memorable, purposeful statement. And wow, our new one is amazing. Magnify God and mature his people. And its cousin, glorify God for the good of his people. I mean, we've been using that a lot, and it really works. It's amazing. It's better than good, right? It's powerful. And people are thinking about it and talking about it all the time. Good leaders know that they can't just leave the vision with the board of the directors. And so Susie passes the vision on to headquarters, and headquarters passes it on to the area personnel, and we pass it on to you, the staff. And now you have the ball, and you need to pass it on to your leaders and to your class members. And it's not just the one vision. All right, magnify God and mature his people is our vision overall. Actually, it's our vision for believers, but it's certainly our vision for BSF. But God has a vision for your class. your individual class. And it's a slightly different vision than it is for the class just down the road. So you need to get a hold of what the vision is that God has for you and for your circle and for your class. So now I'm hoping you're thinking about when do I cast this vision? So hang on, let's see what these teaching leaders said. All right, so here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to throw this ball around and just think of opportunities where you could cast vision. Since it's so important, when are we going to do it? All right, go ahead and get started.
I'm thinking the leaders meeting would be a good time. Leaders meeting?
Like during the closing talk or during the announcements, either
Okay.
one.
Okay.
I'm also thinking during lecture time. That would be a great time to cast vision.
Yeah, or the announcement before the lecture, or the announcement when we open up the class.
Yes.
Intergenerational opening, right? Because
Yeah.
then the kids would get it as well as the adults.
Oh, brilliant. Yes. And
So there were a lot of suggestions there. Here are just a few I'd like you to think about. The workshop theme, that's the overall vision for the year, for the study that we're going to do. Leaders meeting announcements. Every week we say, cast the vision with your leaders announcements. What about the leadership development time at the leaders meeting? Or what about the class meeting announcements? That's a terrific time to cast vision. The lecture, lots of opportunity to cast vision in the lecture. What about leadership interviews? That's a really important time to cast vision. Children's supervisors, you can cast vision when you're talking with the registering adults. Substitute teaching leaders, you can cast vision at every seminar, every workshop. Children's supervisors can also cast vision with the announcements to the class. Class administrators, you can be casting vision every time you talk with someone in the class, every time you give an announcement to the leader circle. Prayer group leaders, you have lots of opportunities to cast vision. Every prayer group meeting during the announcement time, when you give the devotion, during the prayer time, with the prayer requests, for everyone. Each staff person, each class member, each leader has a chance to cast vision just talking to people, individual conversations. So honestly, now, when will you cast vision? All the time. All the time. No. There's a problem. Vision is hard to hold on to. You have to give it constant care and attention. I mean, it's like the ball when you're playing that sport. It's hard to hold on to that ball when you've got all these people running around you trying to get the ball away, right? It's hard to hang on to the ball. It's hard to hang on to the vision. Success, you lose sight of the vision, right? Because you're now looking at the success. Failure, growth, transition, all of those things can distract you and cause you to drop the ball or lose hold of the vision. So you need to know how to cast the vision in a way that people can hang on to it. So it's got to, in its way, be simple, profound, simple. That's the second part of this training. The 4 steps to casting vision well. And we're going to start with clarifying the vision. I mean, everybody's got to know exactly what the vision is. You got to know what it is if you're going to follow it. So step 1 is clarify the vision, and you have to identify and clearly define what the vision is going to be. So you determine what it is. And you need to pray about this. God knows what it is. He'll reveal it to you. Discuss it with your staff. Don't just try and figure this out on your own, teaching leaders. God is going to be the ultimate source for your vision. So ask him. The big picture. Why do you show up every week? Why do you sacrifice all you do to be at leaders meeting and to be at class meeting? Why do you do it? What goal are you trying to meet? And then, what is the burden that you have for your class? What do you want to see happen? And what is the BSF initiative in your class? What are you strategically positioned to fulfill? Maybe it has to do with your community. Maybe it has to do with the demographics of your class. I mean, there are a lot of factors that can go into this. You know, because even right now while I'm saying this, God is giving you some ideas about what he wants to do in your class and with your class? What core values does your class need to align with? Maybe there's some changes that you need to make. What possible definition of vision could you come up with that would be like a simple phrase? I mean, magnify God, mature his people, that's a great starting point. But God has something more specific too for you and for your class. So what could it be? I'll never forget the first time I went to the Silver Spring leaders meeting, Maryland Evening Women's Leaders Meeting, and we all held hands while Stella prayed for the sister circle. Wow, the sister circle. What a terrific vision for the circle. And I tell you what, they do love each other like sisters. It's really an amazing thing. And there are other ways that I've admired all your classes. That one just sticks out for me right now. What's your vision? What memorable statement could you make that would clarify and define that vision? You also have to think about, why do we need to pursue this vision? And why do we need to pursue this vision right now? Why is this the most important one? And that's not just clarifying the facts of the matter, it's clarifying why you want your audience to take action. Why is this urgent? So how does this look when you're trying to define, define the vision, and you're trying to explain why we have got to do something right now? Well, how do you work through that? So here's just a sort of an exercise. This is an actual class, and these are actual situations that this class was facing. There were 4 situations. It's a new host church in a more diverse part of the city, more diverse than the class members were used to. There was a small children's program. There was interest in a satellite discussion group over at a college, and the leaders were getting really discouraged because the members weren't coming very well. There was erratic attendance. So if you were using your BSF aims, vision, and cores and mission statement, and you were working with that, what would you clarify as the vision? What needs to be done that might even touch all these areas? And why does that one thing need to be done more than the other things? Why is it urgent? Why is it core? Keep in mind that what looks like a problem to you and me, that's actually an opportunity in God's eyes. So let's watch as these teaching leaders work it all out. So this is a lot of things. It's a lot of issues. So let's think it through. If we were going to cast vision about these situations, what would we say is, how would we clarify what we want to do? And how would we present the case that we have to do it now? All right, so let's talk.
Well, I guess we want them to see what it could look like. For instance, maybe we'd start with one. So the host church, that's pretty important because you're there every week and you're setting up a foundation. What does it look like to encounter God in that place on a weekly basis?
All right, so we're looking at the host church, and we're trying to think about encountering God in this host church, in this diverse area. All right, let's keep thinking.
Well, thinking about the community aspect, if one of our aims is to love and care for our families, neighbors, communities, and the world for Jesus Christ, then perhaps it's best to think God put us right into the community that he wants us to care for. And so he's going to protect us through that.
Okay, so we're going to cast vision for this being a good place and a safe place.
And dependence on God.
How will that touch these other areas?
Well, that reaching out in that community to those children would grow the school program.
Okay.
And reaching out in the community would also grow the number of people who are right there, close to that host church, so that they won't be more likely to come.
So that's also talking about what you were concentrating on. This is a safe place, a good place to be, where God wants us to be. All right, well, so if we're talking about clarifying the issue
And the issue is that we've got a host church in a diverse area, which is a good thing, it's an opportunity. We're thinking that if we concentrate on that, it might touch this a little bit.
Right.
Will it touch this? Discourage leaders.
Yes.
How will it do that?
Well, that same way that you're bringing in members, you give the members who are coming a passion for that particular area and neighborhood. You're bringing in people who are closer, and they're just more likely to come if they're closer.
Okay, all right, so maybe we'll get better attendance. Does it touch, so it touches this a little bit, well, a lot. Touches this, does it touch this at all?
Not yet. No.
Not yet. So even though this is an opportunity, we're gonna set it aside for now? How come?
Well, because
I think also because the desire for us for an SDG comes when you are seeing that you have great attendance, you're in a place that is settled and you're growing. And so how can you reach the rest of the community? Right now we are looking at this, it's a new place, it's a new host church. It's in a diverse area, so the question is how are we going to speak to that diverse area, because it's different from the way we were speaking probably in the last host church where we were. And we want to grow our children's program and see that there is consistent attendance. And so I would say we would put the SDGs aside because that would come at a later date, but we can still be praying for it.
All right, so we're not gonna say no, we're just gonna say back burner maybe.
Yes.
For now, and that's a strong argument. I mean, you've already cast some vision for, even though this may be exciting, it's for later.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me why we think we should tackle the host church now. We've talked about it touches the small children's program, and it touches the discouraged leaders, but why do we want to touch this now as opposed to this or this? Because they all feel so urgent.
this is a new host church location, so we're setting up a foundation for what it's going to look like there.
All right, so am I hearing you say that a strong foundation is what we want to build on?
Yes.
Okay, so these things would be building just as much as this is building. Did I understand you right?
It would be.
It would be, and I would say that focusing on the host church as because it is the foundation, we are also talking about not just our members, but the host church itself. Having that relationship with the host church makes a big difference because it speaks to the environment, it speaks to the environment, and even the what's the word I'm looking for?
Atmosphere.
The atmosphere. That welcoming atmosphere that our members will feel, our leaders will feel, and the children will feel as they walk into this host church, because we have a solid relationship. And that speaks to that foundation, building that foundation.
All right, well, we've done some really great brainstorming. So if we're going to clarify our issue, what would we say? We would say, I'm going to just try and repeat back what I've been hearing you say. If we're going to clarify the issue, we're going to say that God has moved us to a new host church, and we want to build a strong foundation for all the other issues in the class. We want to start with the host church, have a good relationship with them, and from that good relationship, have a good relationship with the people in the community that God has placed us in. So is that the issue? Have I clarified the issue? All right, and we want to do it now because we've just moved here. So God's placed us here. Now is the time to start building. Right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
We wouldn't want to wait and work on these other things because we don't have our foundation yet.
That's right.
Thank you, guys. That was really great brainstorming. So that was step one, clarify the vision. Now we're going to cast the vision. That's step two. And there are several ways that you could cast the vision. Here are four. They're all kind of cousins of each other, but they are also different. Here's one. You state the problem, and then you state the solution. All right? Very simple. Our class is small. We need more people.
That's casting the vision. It's maybe stating the obvious, but it's still casting vision because you're giving a forward motion. The next one might be stating what if, and then describe a future, and then say, but this is where we are now. So here's a step we can take to walk towards that future. Now, here's the third way. It's kind of similar, but it's also different. You start with, this is where we are now. Here's where we want to be. That's the future. And here's why we can't stay here. Now, BSF has done that for us. They've said, okay, here's where we are. We've doubled in size. Where we'd like to be is continuing to grow. But we can't stay here because our growth has not been with young people. It's been with old people. And in 25 years, we'll all be with the Lord, and there won't be much left of BSF. So we can't stay here. We can't stay in this kind of growth. We've got to grow differently. We've got to grow with younger members. Now, I've kind of transitioned us into the fourth kind of basic way that you could cast vision, and that is, what will happen if we take this step? And what will happen if we don't take this step? So here's an easy one. What will happen if we never invite people to come to our class? Well, we won't grow very fast, and we might even shrink. What will happen if we do invite people to this class? Very likely we're going to start growing. Okay, so there's four basic ways. Let's see what these teaching leaders did with those four different ways of casting vision. All right, so we've clarified the issue. We've decided that of those four problems, which are actually opportunities, we're going to pick the one about building a strong foundation. I thought it was a great idea to start there. Very creative thinking that you did. But now we've got to cast that vision to the leaders and the rest of the class. So how are we going to do it? Why don't you go ahead, Tricia?
Okay, so we could start with the idea of explaining what the problem is and then giving them a solution. Yeah, so it might sound like this. Okay, we have this exciting opportunity and we're really glad to be in this host church, but there is kind of a problem that we find that people aren't coming as much as they did in the old place. It was closer to their homes. What are we going to do about that? Well, we need them to see that as an opportunity because we do have this amazing opportunity now to be in this neighborhood, which was previously not reached at all. These are people who don't know about BSF at all. That's pretty awesome, actually. So how about if we did this? What if each one of us as leaders took these invitations, put your name and your number on it, and then group leaders hand these out to your women, and then the rest of us, we can all really be doing this. Be ready that when you go home tonight and you stop at Starbucks, invite that person. And when you stop at, Giant on your way home, and when you run by the library, whatever it is, be inviting people right here. Because if we get those invitations out, and we've got plenty of them, so if we get all these invitations out in this community, we're going to be reaching this community. I'm excited about that. So that's one way to do it.
I like that. Well, and I was thinking the other way that I could cast vision is looking at the future, casting that vision for the future, but then saying where we are at the present, and then what are the action steps that we need to take to get to that future. So it would go like this. I would say to my leaders, let's visualize, think about where we want to be. Think about what this class is going to look like. It's going to be diverse. It's going to have all kinds of people coming in and getting to learn about the Word of God, but not only learning, then they would also be wanting to apply it, and that would have a ripple effect into the community. And think about the changes that would take place within the community because of this class. And that is something that, think about that and just start visualizing that. And for us to get there, right now, we are not there yet because we are small, we are new, we still don't know the area very well, and we are still getting ourselves established. And that takes a little bit of time. The planning always takes a little bit of time. But once it is established, then we can move on. So what I would like us to do is recognize, yes, we are here. This is our present situation, but it's not where God meets us where we are, but He doesn't leave us there. He moves us on, and so we can depend on Him. And our next step, what I would like us to do is first and foremost, have this as our prayer request all the time. We are constantly praying. with that visualization, with that vision of what we want this class to be like and the impact it's going to have on the community. And so with prayer, because prayer changes a lot, and it is going to be one of the things that we are going to be doing. We pray together, pray individually, and then with prayer, I want us to take the step of faith to invite people. When you go to the grocery store, when you are at the Starbucks, when you are just walking out of here to get to your car, park your car a little bit farther ahead so that you have an opportunity to meet with someone as you're getting to your car. And smile at them. You may smile first, and then the next time you probably will say hello to the next person. And then the next time you say, hey, you know, I just came from a Bible study. Do you know about our Bible study that's just around the corner? And then you can invite them. And then let's see, that word will go around because we are peculiar people, you know. When people will find us peculiar, they will be interested to know why are these people so peculiar, and then they will want to come. And then we can begin to see our class build up and become diverse and also reach out to the community.
Well, and I like what you said about being a peculiar people, or like, why are we a peculiar people? Because we have this desire to magnify God, and then we want to mature as people. That's what we're doing. So if we actually put our focus on the host church, if we focus on loving and reaching the community, and do some of the ideas that you suggested with the invitations and the prayer, then what we're going to see, we are going to have the opportunity to mature more of God's people and to give the gospel out, which is what we really want to do, is to share God's word and teach God's people his word and mature his people. And not only will they then magnify God, and then hopefully they will in turn invite people to mature, that we can mature, but also it's going to give us a joy. And we will know that we're really fulfilling that call that God's put on our lives. But, you know, if we don't do it, what happens? A lot happens. First of all, the community suffers. God puts us in a place where he can use us for his glory, and it doesn't happen. And he's going to do it, because he's always going to do things, but we miss out on him being able to use us. And I think we don't want that to happen. And we don't want to miss out on any opportunity that God gives us. So I think this is good. We're going to go out there and magnify God and mature his people through these ideas. And yeah, it'll be good.
Step 1 was clarify the vision. Step 2 is to cast the vision. Step 3 is to cast it again. See, here's the deal. Remember I said it was easy to drop that ball? We got to get the ball back, right? It's not much of a ball game if you drop the ball and then you're done. Or you've run halfway across the court, the other team now has the ball, and you never even try to get the ball back, all right? That's not much of a game. Well, you got to get the vision back too. You can't keep moving forward without it. Now, the big idea here is that the vision gets fuzzy over time. It fades over time. So in order to keep it clear, you've got to repeat the vision. So how are you going to cast it again? Well, let's listen to these teaching leaders as they kind of brainstorm how you could cast it again and when you could cast it.
Okay, so we have some great ideas on casting a vision and how we're going to do that. Let's talk about the idea that once we've cast that vision for the first time, sometimes people forget because the next day
that's
things
true.
get hard and a little discouraging, and what do we do then? So how about we talk about how are we going to cast the vision one more time?
Okay. What are you thinking?
Well, I was just thinking that I would cast it again during a leaders meeting. I'll bring it up again during a leaders meeting.
All right. Any specific time or?
Well, with the announcements, but I'm also thinking during leaders meeting when we have prayer. During prayer time when we are praying, that would be one of the requests that we would bring up, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when we pray for our class. So it's not just the lecture and
Well, and
the aim.
the lecture is a good one too. Like
Yes.
in the lecture, in the middle, like if we find a passage that it really fits the vision,
Yes.
just thinking about that, we could put it in the lecture.
Or if there's a hymn that we sing that's particularly strong on outreach and the idea of reaching out to this community right here.
True.
And
Yeah.
what about a skit that the kids did in an intergenerational opening where they're just handing out an invitation to someone and someone getting excited about
That's
coming?
right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
It's like, oh, our Facebook page.
Oh,
Completely
yeah.
use that
Yes,
and
social
then remind
media.
the women that we have that and be sure and tell others about it.
Well, and we're gonna continue to cast the vision on Slack with our leaders as
That's
well,
right.
so.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, so we've talked about how, but I think it might be good to talk about when, because, you know, there's kind of ebbs and flow, there's an ebb and flow to the mood of the class and mood of the class members.
Okay.
The atmosphere kind of goes in and out, so what do you think about
So
that?
that's interesting because I was just thinking, how about when, especially when there is a sense of discouragement, when the leaders feel discouraged, that's a good time to actually recast that vision again. And that could also be, we could also be thinking about when they come back from a break and and they're excited about the break.
Yeah, the breaks. I think sometimes after a few weeks of snow, we have like snow days,
Yes.
that's, so it's kind of goes with the breaks or what may cause them to feel discouraged. Cast the vision at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
It's the new time of the year.
That's right, yes. I would also cast it, as you were talking about the beginning of the year, I was thinking, as we get towards the end of the year, there's always a sense of complacency
Yeah.
and people being tired, you know, because we're just getting to the end. That would be also another great time to cast a vision.
For that strong finish.
Yes.
You know how we all get tired on the third leg of the mile.
That's right.
I like to-
Or how about when I'm tired? And
Right.
if I'm tired,
Yes.
everybody else is
That's
probably
probably
feeling the
true.
same thing.
Yeah.
Or when a leader comes and she's just discouraged, you know,
Yes.
for whatever reason, and just wishing she could do more, see more, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I was also thinking when we have new leaders who have just joined during media.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
New leaders. Well, these sound really good. I think we have some really good ideas.
So here's some ideas. Number one, be creative. I mean, you know your class, you know your leaders. Be creative. Use the announcement time. Use the lecture time. Involve children. If you're going to do an intergenerational opening, involve the kids. Use social media. I mean, you can put a whole bunch of stuff up on your big screen now. Use it. Use humor. Use all different kinds of venues. And when do you do it? Well, be intentional, right? Do it when there are new people, because they don't know your vision. When you hear complaining, when you hear people getting really tired, when you see complacency or fatigue set in, when it starts getting hard and people are forgetting why they were going to have to sacrifice and give up stuff, or why it was going to be so challenging. You know, all it looks like is hard now. It doesn't look like the future that we're working towards. Pick times when people are most attentive, when you've got their ear, or when everyone comes back and they're all refreshed and they're like, yeah, let's do something new and big. Like, let's say in January, it's a great time, or even in May or September. Now, if you're doing this training together as a staff, and I really hope you are, or prayer group leaders, if you're doing this as partners, I'd like you to talk about when you could cast this vision again and how you could cast it again. So just think about, when are there new people in your class? Or when do new people come to your prayer group? Think about, when does complacency and fatigue usually set in? When do people usually start complaining? Okay, think of class members, think of leaders. When is the best time of year when you get super good attendance, or when you really have the attention of your class? All right, so step one, clarify the vision. Remember, that's the what and the why and the why now. Step two, cast the vision. Step three, cast the vision again. Step four, you gotta celebrate. I mean, when you work hard, you've got to get the reward. God gives us rewards, and we need to receive those rewards and celebrate them. So, why do we celebrate? Well, we celebrate every time we do something well or something happens, because that's a way of casting the vision. That's a way of saying, remember, this is what we wanted and it's happened. Hooray. Celebration motivates people. It encourages people. People need to see progress. I need to see progress. You need to see progress. Everybody does. Sharing night is really not enough, or sharing day. It's not enough. It's only once in the whole year. We've got to have regular times of celebrating the progress that we've been making. So be strategic. And everybody is celebrating something. I mean, why not use your leader announcement times every now and then to say, hey, guess what? This very cool, wonderful thing has happened. And I hope you're already doing that. Now be even more strategic, because you're thinking about the vision that you have for your class and for your leaders. And so now you're going to find a piece that celebrates the progression of that vision. How do you celebrate? Again, be creative. But definitely the first thing you want to do is say, thank you, God. Hooray. God, you've been faithful. We asked you and you said yes. So remember to do that first. Give word pictures. Give stories. Talk about the big win, whatever it was. Maybe you were praying hard for something and it came through. Maybe something wonderful happened that you weren't expecting, and you've just got to share it with everyone. And then you want to celebrate progress in your own life, because you have a vision for yourself. And I'm not just talking about as a teaching leader, but just personally sharing that progress, that growth. And that's a great way to show the other leaders how to share during the fellowship times. Now, I'm going to tell you how God has powerfully moved forward with the vision that he gave our team when we became a team 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, God gave us a vision to grow our area both in numbers and in spiritual depth. And we were really eager to do that. So in the first year, because we wanted God to claim more ground for himself through BSF, serious students of Scripture. That was my own slogan for me, that God would develop more serious students for Scripture through BSF. So we started out with 16 classes in 2013. The first year, so that 2013 to 2014, that first year, we brought all of the classes, all 16, up to speed in the new training that headquarters has been developing. The second year, we dug firm foundations for all the classes to be able to sustain sudden and significant growth. Year 3, God sent those serious students in droves. That was the year of revelation. And I'm so thankful that God gave us 2 years to really prepare through our training and our foundation. Every one of our 16 classes grew significantly. And God also raised up 8 prayer groups. Now, at this point, year 3, we knew we were no longer able to invest in each class and develop each class well all by ourselves. And headquarters agreed. So they divided our area in half. They created a new team and said, go ye therefore, till the ground. And we did. So in this past 4th year, the Southern 8 classes also had 3 prayer groups, and that new area team sent one of those prayer groups to headquarters to pilot a class. That's amazing. Thank you, God. That's huge. And then in our area, we had 5 prayer groups. We've strengthened each of those prayer groups, and one of those prayer groups hosted a pastor's event in Washington, D.C., which was a really successful event. We hope to do more, but in the meantime, these are wonderful, significant events that God made possible, and we are celebrating them. We are very happy. This is all to God's glory, and it's worth celebrating. He gave us a vision, and he's empowering us to live it out. So I want you to use this summer to assess where you are and where you'd like to be, and then cast that vision.